name is Mike Kemper. My pronouns are he, him. I'm a member of the Board of Trustees. Welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Congregation of the Hudson Valley. Whether you have been with this congregation a decade or more, or this is your first time visiting us, we welcome you. Whatever the faith and traditions of your past, we welcome you. Whatever your theological stance, we welcome you. Whoever you are and whomever you love, we welcome you. Whatever your heritage, we welcome you. We respectfully acknowledge the territory on which our church building sits as the ancestral homelands of the Munsee, Lenape, and Wappinger people. We have some announcements. Our spring all-family game night and potluck dinner will be next Saturday, May 3rd, from 5:30 to 9 o'clock. We will be hosting a vegetarian, vegan potluck for this game night. Please bring your favorite vegetarian or vegan dishes to share. Including your recipe is not required, but definitely encouraged. All are welcome. It is always a wonderful, multi-generational night of food, fun, and games. The Artists of Northern Westchester show is having a closing reception from 2 to 4 this afternoon. It's also your last chance to purchase artwork and to purchase raffle tickets for Maddie Hunter's beautiful artwork. It will be raffled off this afternoon. All of the sales benefit our UUCHV programs. Save the date for the annual spring cleanup on May 17th from 9 to 1. The donuts, the bagels, the coffee, and the work will be happening on May 17th. We will all come together and spruce up our outdoor and indoor facilities. Please stop by for the whole morning or for just an hour. Questions? See Betsy Tomic and Chris Oliver for more information. Now, I'd like to invite the co-chairs of the Lorraine-Hansberry Coalition, Signe Bergstrom and Linda Jones, to come up and say a few words about an important upcoming event.
Thank you. It is rare that I get applause at 10 o'clock in the morning. I appreciate it. My co-chair Signe had to go out of town last night, so she won't be with us physically, but she's with us in spirit. I want to thank Reverend Daniel, Reverend Anna, and Mike Kemper for allowing me to speak with you this morning. My name is Linda Jones, and I'm co-chair of the Lorraine-Hansberry Coalition of Croton. Reverend Daniel has supported the Hansberry Coalition, I think, since the day he arrived here in Croton. To my knowledge, he's the only member of the Croton clergy who has incorporated Lorraine-Hansberry in his sermons. The Hansberry Coalition is grateful for his interest in our work and his ongoing support. I'm here today to invite you to the Clark Legacy exhibit. I have some flyers that I will leave here, which will run on select afternoons during the month of May. Dr. Mamie Phipps Clark and Kenneth Bancroft Clark were civil rights activists and pioneering psychologists who are best known for their doll tests that demonstrated the negative impact of segregation on self-esteem on Black children. Their test results influenced the groundbreaking Brown versus Board of Education Supreme Court decision desegregating United States public schools. Like many Supreme Court decisions, the Brown decision may seem remote, distant, and detached from your day-to-day lives. But I stand before you today because of the work of the Clarks, Thurgood Marshall, the NAACP legal team, and Paulie Murray, who the Hansberry Coalition just honored yesterday. I have benefited from that decision my entire life. The Clark Legacy was initially curated and staged by the Hastings Historical Society, Hastings-on-Hudson Historical Society. It is the first of its kind to showcase the legacy of the dynamic husband and wife team who are residents of Hastings-on-Hudson. The exhibit provides a behind-the-scenes look at their personal lives and the groundbreaking work as civil rights activists and psychologists. Other topics will include the history of the integrated neighborhood in Hastings, the story of the Clark's house guest, Minnie Jean Brown Trickey of the Little Rock Nine, who lived with them in the late 50s. She had to leave the South because her life was threatened. She was a high school student, and the NAACP arranged for her to move in with the Clarks. The opening reception will be held here at the UUC this Friday from 7 to 9 p.m. Your very own Gunnar Anderson has agreed to play for us that evening during the reception. Members from the Clark commemoration team will discuss the exhibit, the co-naming of several streets in Hastings, and the all-school assembly held to honor the Clarks and Minnie Jean Brown Trinket. The exhibit will run weekends and 2 Thursdays in May. On May 17th, we will be joined by Dr. LaRuth Gray, who will speak about the importance of the Brown decision and her life as an educator. Among Dr. Gray's many accomplishments, she was the first African-American superintendent of schools in Westchester County. The Hansberry Coalition enjoys a very positive relationship with the Croton schools, and last week, the Clark Legacy exhibit was installed at Croton Harmon High School. Each of the 11th grade classes will meet with Dr. Gray next week. On May 17th, the exhibit's last day, we will celebrate Lorraine Hansberry's birthday. There are flyers. I will leave flyers perhaps in the back of the sanctuary or wherever I'm allowed to leave the flyers, so you will have them. Please join us in celebrating and honoring these two individuals. The exhibit is free and open to all. Thank you.
Okay, where are we? Okay. For the most up-to-date information on these topics and others, please refer to our weekly e-newsletter and check our website frequently. Please join us for conversation after the service. If you are present in the sanctuary, please join us for coffee and conversation in Fellowship Hall. If you're watching the live stream, the link for our Zoom coffee hour can be found in the Saturday reminder in your email. If you're just recently joining us and would like to receive our weekly e-news, please email us at uucroton@gmail.com with your name, and we will make sure you are added to our e-news list. Please remember to silence your cell phones at this time. Once again, we welcome you to the Unitarian Universalist Congregation of the Hudson Valley. Thank you.
Good morning again. Good morning. My name is Ann Pearl, and I'm your worship associate today. Before I introduce our guest minister, I also just wanted to mention that there will be a workshop here in the sanctuary, right in the back there, immediately following the service. Well, maybe about 15 or 20 minutes, so that you guys can have coffee and some snacks before you come back for this. If you want, it's open to anyone that's interested. It's going to, you might have hopefully read about a little bit about it in the e-news or in the Saturday email. It is an Earth Day workshop on awe led by Reverend Anna Levy-Lyons. And there will be some intimate conversation. People will be sharing their experiences of awe. You have a little time to think about it, so if you want to join us, just feel free. There's no registration required. Today I am introducing our guest minister, Reverend Anna Levy-Lyons, who is with us again, and we are very grateful for that. Anna Levy-Lyons is a writer, spiritual student and teacher, composer, and former minister of First Unitarian in Brooklyn. She is currently a rabbinical student in the Aleph ordination program and holds an Master of Divinity from University of Chicago Divinity School. Anna is the author of No Other Gods, The Politics of the Ten Commandments, and of the forthcoming book, The Secret Despair of the Secular Left. She lives on the Upper West Side with her husband Jeff and 14-year-old twins. God bless you. To receive her newsletter and find out about upcoming events and the book release, her email information is on the back of your order of service. You can also find her on Substack, and her email for that is here. Her website is here as well. Also, Anna is here, Reverend Anna is here today with her husband Jeff, and they will be happy to talk to anybody during coffee hour about any of the things that I just mentioned. So if you want more information, please feel free to ask them. At this time, please welcome Reverend Anna Levy-Lyons.
Whoever you are, whomever you love, wherever you are on your life journey, whether you are a feathered friend or human, you are welcome here.
Forgot to welcome our feathered friend there, didn't I? We now invite the children of our congregation to join their religious education instructors and ring our bell 7 times in honor of our shared values and principles. We will now have our chalice lighting. Our chalice lighting words today are by Sarah York. We receive fragments of holiness, glimpses of eternity, brief moments of insight. Let us gather them up for the precious gifts that they are, and, renewed by their grace, move boldly into the unknown. Please join me now in our unison affirmation. The words are in your order of service. Inspired by love, our mission is to seek our true nature, connect deeply and openly, and act for justice. Now it's time for our children to join their religious education teachers up in Fellowship Hall, and we're going to sing them out with Go Now in Peace, number 413 in your grave hymnal. To support one another and to celebrate with one another. We bear sacred witness to each other in this honored ritual. As we begin, we know that there are both great sorrows and great joys in our world that must be acknowledged as well. We light our first candle. To honor those in pain, victims of violence and war and oppression all around our world. We light a second candle because we understand that amidst all of that pain, there's also celebration and joy in our world. We honor that joy and sorrow are woven together. For some of us here today, this has been a week of life-changing joy that needs to be lifted up in this worship. For others, this has been a time of deep pain and sorrow that needs to be shared to make the burden lighter. If this has been such a time for you, I invite you to come forward I will light a candle for you, and to please briefly tell us of your joy or sorrow. You may use the microphone to my left. You may also raise your hand in silent acknowledgement of your joys and sorrows, and we will light a candle for you.
Good morning, everybody. I'm April, and I have a joy, which is last night my son William crossed over from Cub Scouts to Boy Scouts in the Arrow of Light ceremony, and it was such a wonderful evening. I've been his den leader since first grade, and so it was my responsibility to plan the event. And so we've been planning the event since like January, maybe December. We had a petting zoo that came and that had a goat, mini bunnies, chicks, and we had about 100 people, about 45 adults, 50 kids. William and I spent hours on Friday making our favorite cookie recipe, which is the chocolate chip maraschino cookie recipe from Gordon Ramsay. I'll just plug that. But it was really a beautiful, it went off so well, and I was pretty nervous, and William felt honored and celebrated, and now he's joining a Boy Scout troop in Ossining, Troop 49. They do a lot of community work, and so I just want to lift that up for him.
Hi again. This is actually my first time doing a joy and sorrow, and I have both. Yesterday, we held Beyond the Binary, Building Beloved Community. We knew there would be some kinks. I got a little worried as soon as I logged in. The first thing I saw was a giant FU, and it took me a while to figure out that First Unitarian Universalist Society is so we had some kinks, but we worked them out. So I want to thank everybody who volunteered. Jim and Pat and Gil, thank you. The inclusivity team, Nora and Allie and Heather. Margie, thank you. So we were talking last night, Margie and I, talking about the different things that we got out of it. And I hope everyone who attended got something out of it. But the other part of it is what we put out there. We were part of 29 other congregations who now know we're allies. And not just the congregations, but the people attached to those congregations who came. We are now in community with them, and I think that's a relationship we really have to work to try and continue. The sorrow is that the keynote speaker could not be in Syracuse in person. He lives in Seattle, and as he explained, he has a special needs child, and he has an elderly mother, and he couldn't risk getting on an airplane. He couldn't risk being detained for 48 hours. And this is somebody who's an activist and who has never backed down from a fight. So if that doesn't explain exactly where we are right now, I don't know what does. So it's a worthwhile thing. We have to keep working at it. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Nora. I have a sort of mixed joy and sorrow. I gave my notice at the library. I'm going to be retiring at the end of May, and everybody's like, no, you can't do that. So yes, I can. Yes, I will. And it's poignant.
Hi everyone, I'm Ellen. I have a joy to share. Some of you already know I hosted my granddaughter Cecilia's 9th birthday party. There's a pool near my apartment, so a bunch of kids came up from Brooklyn to swim and yell and run around and hoot. And she's a healthy and very confident young lady at 9. Her little brother is also thriving, so I'm just very grateful to have them, and I hope that all of you who wish to will have the joy now of grandchildren in your lives.
Hi, good morning. I'm Ames. All right, we'll try this. Last Thursday, my stepson, who lives in London and has been there for 15 years, and both his children were born there, had a meeting with his daughter, Margot, and they spoke for the first time in 2 years. Little Margot was diagnosed with anorexia at the age of 13. 12 even. Dropped out of school and has been in a series of institutions and facilities in the London area, and has had great difficulty making progress. Very luckily, she moved into, I think, her third facility last November, much smaller home for a very limited number of young people with her same diagnosis, and has gotten excellent care. And it looks like she may be eligible for release. Sorry. Sometime this summer. But it was immensely gratifying for my stepson and for us that they've been able to reconnect after all this time. So we continue to pray for them. We're going to be seeing my stepson and his son Charles in about 3 weeks. So it'll be good to embrace him. Thank you.
Morning, everybody. My name is Scott. I have a joy. I was taken into Northern Westchester Hospital suspect of having a stroke, or a TIA, which turned out to be the most positive experience I could have had in my life. Go figure. The hospital was amazing, by the way. Their food is incredible. Their staff is unbelievable. And when I walked in, my doctor had called them ahead of time, so there was an entire team waiting for me. And they gave me a choice of something fast-acting and keeping me in the ICU that could have caused a brain bleed, which I said no. What's the risk-reward? I'm not slurred, I'm not weak, I'm not anything. Anyway, through it all, I've seen neurologists, endocrinologists, my eye doctor. I was cleared, I didn't have a stroke, some diabetes-related stuff, which leads me to my joy. My 15-year-old daughter, Annabelle, who's here regularly, she sat down and said, "Dad, I watch how you bypass the diabetes. I watch how you go for the sugar. I watch how you ignore the signals." At 15 years old. She said, "And you're going to be 70. I'm not going to have you for another 20 or 30 years. I'm an adoptee from China. I have issues. I have abandonment issues. I have fear of losing people. And you're going to do this? Unbelievable." Now, I'm a recovering addict alcoholic, and I have battled and I have won one day at a time over a horrible disease for a very long time. But this was the one piece where my brain was like, I need a reward. I deserve this. That broke brain, that monkey brain. And my closest friend who lost his wife in August, he really got to me, my friend Bill, and we're starting a podcast together about recovery and senior living and jumping back into the world as seniors. And he said to me, "Do you want to put your wife and daughter through what I'm going through right now? The pain, the sorrow, the grief, because you can't figure out why It's so easy to reach out for the sugar, for the carbs, for the things. So as of today, I've been on the mend. And, you know, the great thing about diabetes is you can track your progress just by taking your numbers, unlike any other disease. So thank you, Annabelle, for being this amazing spirit. Love to everyone.
Hi, I'm Salma. My pronouns are she, her. I wanted to share a sorrow and joy that because maybe I'm not alone in this also. You know, of course, what's happening right now in our country has been so upsetting and troubling to me, and I feel like I've been on an emotional roller coaster over the last couple of months. And for some weeks there, I sort of, in an effort to grapple with it intellectually, was like reading about fascism and totalitarianism and the history of this, because I think it's just really hard for me to cope with something that's completely out of my control and that I can't understand why it's happening from a humanitarian standpoint. And so I got to this like really dark place. I'm laughing because it was just self-imposed almost. I was obsessively listening to the news. I was reading all this intellectual stuff that was not good for me. I needed to draw a boundary. And so that's the sorrow part. But the joy part is that, you know, I think sometimes the universe just gives you what you need. And I had a vacation planned to New Orleans, which is where I grew up. And Miles and I got to go there, and because my day-to-day life was suddenly changed for a few weeks, I went to New Orleans, and then and then went to Massachusetts for work up in the mountains in the Berkshires. You know, as soon as I sort of got on the streets of New Orleans, there was like the powerful smell of evening jasmine and honeysuckle and magnolia, and I ate food, and I played soccer every morning, and I was not listening to the news because I wasn't in my daily schedule, and it really sort of awoke me and connected me to the earth and to nature. And then I went further into nature in Massachusetts for work, where I got to be in the mountains for a few days, again, out of my regular routine of listening to the news every morning. And I guess I just wanted to share that joy because it was a beautiful solace for me to have nature pull me out of this dark place. I still understand what's happening, but I don't need to sort of consume it 24 hours a day. In fact, I need to not consume it 24 hours a day. So I just wanted to share that.
Hi. Hi, my name is Kevin Green. I'm going to share, I guess, a joy. It was, call it a pep talk that I gave to my brother, who is sort of down like many people in their jobs, whether you're an accountant, a teacher, a doctor, whatever, you're dealing with situations where you're trying to reallocate money or be able to continue with just your daily, job without interruption. And my brother he was, let me just get the title right here, sorry. At one point, first director of Health Disparities Education, Office of Diversity Affairs at NYU Grossman School of Medicine. That's just one of many things that he's had, so you can imagine some of the things that he's dealing with. He was going to New Orleans, Louisiana, to give back-to-back conferences, and I know he was very stressed, but he finally spoke to me a little bit about some of the details of having not only the lawyers at his school, but the lawyers for each of these two different organizations have to read over these presentations that he's been giving, and everybody has to change their words, and he has been warned by both the lawyers up in his school and the lawyers that he's going to, that he has to be careful what he says, because there's going to be plants in the audience who are there to catch him making a mistake and then take that and use that against his university, withhold money, blah, blah, blah. And this is every conference he goes to has to be double checked by lawyers. So, and I do find that there are accountants, teachers, people who are doing this kind of stuff in their little job and not even realizing. So this is in a text that I sent to him after I was at my mother's house helping her clean out some things, and I found something called, it's We Walk as One, and on top it says, it's a little, I guess, something that was presented to my brother and I back in 1979. It's We Walk as One till every Jew in America is with us, Justice Brandeis. And then it's basically, from what I could gather and read, it's like a Hands Across America before Hands Across America to support people. And my brother and I were there, and it has our names on it. And so I wrote to my brother, who is also gay. I said, I found this at Mom's yesterday. It has both of our names on it. We walk as one, 1979. You have been standing up for your people since you were 5 years old. He's 52 years old now. No one said it would be easy, and in many ways, it is the hardest time you have ever faced as a gay man, since your people at Stonewall did the same thing for you. You will get through this. I love you, I respect you, and I stand with you always, just like I did during Pride in October of 1996 when we marched together. So, just wanted to share that, and I know that a lot of people have that. These people in this room have a history all their lives of standing up for things. So think about this and realize that my brother, who was 52, he never had to grow up closeted. When he was 12 years old, he came out to his family, and he never questioned whether he was accepted or not. And it's from all the work that people did before him. And for this to be the first time in his life that he's scared or concerned, you have to see that as some type of a victory or the possibility that we can overcome this. So I just wanted to say that.
And then one more candle. We light one final candle for all those joys and sorrows that remain unexpressed, and for those outside of our walls who are searching for a place to bring the wholeness of their lives and be received with love.
If it's comfortable for you, please close your eyes and join me in the spirit of prayer and meditation. Let's take a moment to get in touch with the realest of the real, our own direct experience. Bring awareness to your toes and feet, legs and hips, belly, intestines, chest, lungs, heart, and back, neck and shoulders, arms, hands, fingers, chin, lips, cheeks, eyes, nose, forehead, back of the head, brain, top of the head, hair, and the area right above our heads. Now let's bring our attention to our emotions. check in with yourself. How are you feeling? Maybe you're feeling more than one feeling. Are there different feelings in different regions of your body? What colors or textures are they? See if you can stay with it and just notice. And now let's bring awareness to thoughts. Are they racing fast? Are they calm? Can you notice them as they go by? Who is it within us or beyond us who is noticing these things?
Our reading today is entitled Awe by Abraham Joshua Heschel. Awe is an intuition for the dignity of all things, a realization that things not only are what they are, but also stand, however remotely, for something supreme. Awe is a sense for the transcendence, for the reference everywhere to mystery beyond all things. It enables us to perceive in the world intimations of the divine, to sense the ultimate in the common and the simple, to feel in the rush of the passing the stillness of the eternal. What we cannot comprehend by analysis, we become aware of in awe. Now please rise in body or spirit and join us in singing hymn number 64 in your great hymnal, Oh, Give Us Pleasure in the Flowers Today.
I was coming home from dropping my kid off at school on a beautiful spring day, and I saw that some city workers were trimming a tree, and there were some branches scattered around the ground. And it just so happened that the tree was in bloom at the time. So I scooped up one of these flowering branches and brought it home with me. Now, anyone who has ever dated me or is now currently married to me has early on come to the distressing realization that I actually dislike receiving beautiful flowers that are chopped down in their prime as a symbol of love for me, only to then have me watch them die on the table over the next few days. But these flowers were free. They were otherwise destined for the wood chipper. So I was thrilled to be able to bring them home and put them in water and admire their beauty. From high up in the tree, these branches look like they're just covered with a pale pink glow. But looking at them more closely when I got home, I realized that the glow was actually made up of individual tufts about the size of a fist. And each tuft was really a cluster of individual flowers. And each flower was comprised of tiny petals, each about the size of a pinky fingernail. So I started counting. 5 petals per flower, 20 flowers per cluster. That's 100 petals per cluster. How many clusters of flowers were there on those couple branches I brought home? About 20. 20 times 100, 2,000. There were 2,000 little petals gracing these branches on my kitchen table. Just trimmings from an ordinary medium-sized tree. 2,000 petals. I felt like I heard God chuckle at my amazement. I'm like, that's impossible. How could there be that many? I must have done the math wrong. God's like, count them yourself if you really must quantify these things. Actually, don't. I'll just tell you. It's 2,439. I'm like, okay. God says, that's nothing. Nothing. When you're going outside sometime, let me know. I'll go with you, and we'll see. So a few days later, I'm out running, and I go to the Ramble in Central Park. The Ramble is the forested section of the park with a lake in the middle of it, and I'm lucky enough to live within running distance. I find a corner of the lake where there aren't many people, and I look around. Flowering trees are everywhere, in full bloom. I think about the branches at home with 2,000 petals on them. Each of these trees bursting with branches just like that. This tree right in front of me, hundreds of thousands, maybe even millions of petals on it. That's 2,438,355, says God. I hear the laughter again. There are birds, too, all around me. Reds, grays, browns, making a holy racket. The effortless abundance of it all. Each tree swaying in the breeze, each bush, each bird, just a gesture, a splash of color. Looking at the kaleidoscope all around me, the explosions of life in every direction, the vibrations of sound, the unfathomable scale. There are no words, there are no numbers to contain this extravagance. And the lake is another dash of divine humor. You want it all doubled, says God? Poof, it's all there again in the mirror image on the lake. You want it tripled? You want it quadrupled? I spin off whole universes before you've had breakfast. The giddy playfulness of creation, the humor. I feel joy welling up in me. Awe. I feel profound awe. Around that time, there was an article in the New York Times by Adam Grant called, "There's a name for the blah you're feeling. It's called languishing." It describes a state that's not quite depression, but it's not quite thriving either. Grant calls languishing the dominant emotion of our time. Unlike with serious depression, you can function while languishing. You can go through all the motions of your day and get done what you need to do, but it all feels kind of joyless and aimless, kind of blah. I think many of us have felt this, at least at times, over the last few years, with hours in front of screens, background anxieties, foreground anxieties, loneliness, war, ecological devastation. But what amazed me about this article by Adam Grant that talked about languishing, he talked about it in purely psychological terms, and he offered only psychological remedies for it. He didn't talk about it as what it seemed so obviously to be, a spiritual illness. Languishing is the existential blah that comes from a disconnection from the source of life, a lack of a higher purpose animating what we do, and an absence of awe. And just as I don't believe that this is just a psychological malady, I also don't believe that it's anything new in our day. It might have gotten worse, but this spiritual illness of our culture has been with us for a long time. For decades, at least, we have been collectively acting like a languishing individual. We function, we get things done, we get a lot done if you measure it by GDP or the amount that we produce or consume or how well we entertain ourselves. Much has gotten done. But as a society, we've done it with a determined, teeth-clenched optimism, moving along the conveyor belt of progress without real joy. We've done it all without a sense of connection to the holy source of life, the earth from which we come. We've done it without a sense of shared purpose. Why are we making 13 million new microwaves each year, and how does that create a better world when so many people don't have enough food to eat to begin with? And we've done it without awe. Awe is a spiritual word. It suggests something bigger even than amazement. I think of it as the dawning awareness of the presence of something greater, something beyond ourselves, beyond our control, beyond our comprehension. It can feel thrilling, terrifying, liberating, even comforting. Awe is soul nourishment. It is the antidote to languishing. In the experience of awe, there can be no boredom. Life feels vibrant and purposeful, like we are part of a grand cosmic journey yearning toward wholeness. It puts each of us in our place as one petal, one beautiful, fragrant, essential petal out of billions. The more we know and the more we open ourselves to it, the more it can fill our consciousness. I want to invite you all to call up in your hearts an experience you've had where you felt even the slightest touch of awe. It could be an experience in nature, but it doesn't have to be. We humans channel that divine creativity in so many ways. Think of artists and architects. Think about all that went into designing and building this sanctuary that we're sitting in right now. Musicians, how they pluck sound and rhythm out of thin air and create another universe and make us dance or make us cry. Scientists who created medicines that are saving lives at this moment. The work of those who grow food and those who build and those who cook and heal and care for others. Almost anything can be experienced with awe if we open ourselves deeply enough to it. After the service, you're all invited to gather at the back of the sanctuary for a more in-depth experience of awe. But now, as a little appetizer, Betsy Cates has generously agreed to come up here and share a story with us. After she speaks, let's hold a moment of silence to honor what she has shared. And this will be the protocol for the group later as well, because stories of awe are holy stories.
Thank you, Reverend Anna. It was so much fun to have the chance to do this. I called it Birth. We were meandering on the sandy shore of the Columbia River in Portland, Oregon. A steamy July day, we'd gone swimming and were drying as we strolled, chatting about nothing and everything. I don't know which one of us saw it first. The jerky, rhythmic motion on a small patch of sand caught our eyes. Little bits of sand were flinging about as something flailed. What? A minnow? A snail? We halted in our tracks. There was drama in the sand, and that was indisputable. We peered down. As insects go, it was huge, and we were all captivated as we watched this tiny being buck and rest, writhe and rest in an ages-old rhythm. And we realized, as if in slow motion, that it was a dragonfly hatching. Quietly, reverently, we all sat down, close enough to see, but not close enough to disturb. We whispered. Its dark green head was that of a miniature monster, enormous, bulging, round eyes. It pushed in barely perceptible increments. Was he making progress? For whatever reason, we called it he. And yes, he was. It was such an intense effort, and he was so good at it, squeezing himself out of his exuvia like a little expert, doing the incredible and weirdly private work of birthing himself. An event at which we were so blessed, so privileged, so humbled to be present. We didn't know how long the whole process had taken, but we had stumbled upon it at the pinnacle. And as he emerged, his beautiful shiny wings glistened. He rested for a bit, and then he flexed his perfect cylindrical torso into the most gorgeous, triumphant arch, a beautiful cobra handstand pose. Clearly, he was showing off. At that, we all gasped, and maybe we all cried a little. To have witnessed the moment this creature began probably the best phase of his life, the time when he could fly. That was next for him. And maybe, just maybe, that was him, many minutes later, zipping over the water in his iridescent glory as we walked back to the car.
Einstein famously said, "There are two ways to live life. One is as if nothing is a miracle, and the other is as if everything is a miracle." What a difference this shift in perspective makes. If nothing is a miracle, our stance toward the natural world is one of extraction and control. If everything is a miracle, it's one of awe and reverence. If nothing is a miracle, the material world and all the people in it are just resources to be shaped and used. If everything is a miracle, each creature is infused with the holy, and each is of infinite value. If nothing is a miracle, we languish. If everything is a miracle, we blossom. I believe that the culture of nothing is a miracle is the culture of languishing, and it's the culture that is driving our ecosystems to the point of collapse. To begin to heal our relationship with each other and with the rest of creation, we need to transform that culture. Spiritual and culture change is slow, but it's powerful. It's like planting the seed of a flowering tree. Whether we experience a God who has snarky conversations with us and knows how many petals are on the tree, or whether we just contemplate the ineffable beauty and grandeur of the universe, we can each find our own ways to get to awe. We can make time for it and space for it in our day, in our week. Prayer, meditation, music, blessings before meals. Put ourselves in situations and give ourselves the opening to notice how miraculous everything really is. Because it really is, starting with the fact that there is something rather than nothing. That there is something rather than nothing. And that the cosmic explosion of somethingness exploded into something so beautiful, so diverse, so unlikely as this earth, that somehow spawned every single petal on every flowering tree and every single one of us. The probability of my existing at all and you existing at all and all of us existing at the same time and sharing these experiences right now are vanishingly small. It's all a miracle. My prayer for all of us is that we might expand our sense of wonder, see the miracles all around us, work toward healing, languish no more, and come to know life as the awesome gift that it is. Let's rise together in body or spirit for our final hymn, number 324. We'll sing just verses 1 and 3 in the interest of time, where my free spirit onward leads, number 324.
those that in their turn gave generously. Our offering goes to support the work of love and justice undertaken by this community. Today's offering will also be shared with SPCA Westchester, a no-kill 501c3 not-for-profit animal welfare organization dedicated to saving homeless, abused, and abandoned animals and to protecting animals from cruelty and neglect through education and enforcement of humane laws. Please visit their website, spcawestchester.org. You may also refer to our website or e-newsletter for more information. You can make your donation in several ways. If present in the sanctuary, you may give cash or a check in the offering plate as it comes by. From your homes, you can make your donation via credit card or PayPal using the links provided in the e-newsletter or by visiting our website, UUCHudsonValley.org. Or if you prefer, you may always mail us a check. The offering will now be given and gratefully received.
They all seem to know where they wanted to go. I wonder how big is our world? How high is the highest? How far is the farthest? Does something begin when there's no more to go? How far is forever and ever and ever? There's so much above me, I wish I could know. On a clear winter night, I looked up in the sky, watching the stars as the night went by, and I thought to myself, who's looking down on those stars so high? And I wonder how big is their world? I wonder how big is their world?
Please join me now in the dedication of the offering. The words are in your order of service. May these gifts and the work of our hands and hearts give power to all we stand for as a community of faith. Please join me now also in extinguishing the chalice. The words once again are in your order of service. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again.
As we go out into this beautiful spring day, may we go with wonder, humility, and awe at the overflowing miracles of this world.